Hello, I'm Mr. Wolf. Welcome to AP Physics B. AP Physics B is a college preparatory course covering the main principles of physics. We will focus on a conceptual understanding and investigate these principles in a problem-solving manner. This year, we will be investigating these topics in physics through a flipped classroom style approach. In this manner, the traditional lecture part of class will become the homework through a series of video lectures, whereas the original part and what you may be used to as homework of going home and doing problems, that will become class time. I'll get into a little bit more about how this will work in a second, but let me explain to you first why I chose to teach it in this manner. I think back to a lot of the college classes that I had and even some of the high school classes and a lot of the lecture parts of those classes. No matter how exciting or how interested I was in the topic, I always felt distracted, a little bored, or just generally not enthused when I found that the teacher was just standing up there and lecturing for half an hour, 45 minutes, even an hour at some points. It really kind of turned me away from some things that I thought I had an interest in. It's just in that manner that it was taught. And I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but I feel that there's a large consensus out there that it is a hard thing to do to stand there and listen to somebody talk for 45 to 50 minutes, which is a traditional class here at Brookline. Now, it's not saying that most teachers lecture for that period of time, but that's the length of one. Now, what to do instead? I've gone through and I've tried to break up the lectures into smaller chunks. Because I feel that a 15-minute or so, 10 to 15-minute length, is a little bit easier to understand. So first off, I'm going to try and take these long lectures and break them up into smaller parts. Second, the homework, your traditional homework. You go home, and I think of a lot of my college classes doing this. You go home and you have a problem set to work on, and you have nightly homework each night that you have to have done for class the next day. And it may only be 5 to 10 problems, something small, but you sit there and you're working on these problems and you don't know maybe if you have the correct answer, but you're working through. And maybe you get stuck on something and it's 2 hours later that you finally figure out, oh, I forgot to carry my decimal point over, or I have a negative symbol in the wrong place. Simple things like that would hang you up for who knows how long when doing these long problem sets. And so I want to remove that aspect of it. As a teacher, my best position, or my job really, is to help a student. And the way that I do that is by interacting with the students. I can't help you when you're working on your problem sets at home. So I'm going to bring the nightly homework, the traditional 5 to 10 problems a night, into class, and that's what we will do in class. You will either work on that alone or with groups and different partners. Now, so that's kind of why I want to teach this, how this will work for you this year. As I mentioned, there will be video lectures. These lectures will be ranging from 10 to 15 minutes that you will watch on your own at home. Some of the advantages that I think that there will be to this is, one, you can watch this at your leisure when you find time, but you need to watch it before class. Two, you can stop, you can go back. Oh man, there's something that I did not understand. You will be able to go back and look it over again and listen to it one more time. Three, you will have the textbook right there with you. So if there is something that you have a problem with or something a little confused about, you can have another resource right there in front of you to help you answer your question. Now, when you are watching these lectures and reading through the textbook, you will need to keep a notes journal. I would prefer that you have a composition notebook, but if you would like to keep something typed, I would request that it's in a 3-ring binder and that you bring it to class every day. With your notebook, it should include the notes from the video lecture and the notes from the readings in the textbook. I'll explain more of that when we get into the nightly stuff. But your notebook, it should include some of the practice problems, any questions that you have, so that way you bring it in. Every day you will bring this notebook to class. I will check it. Maybe perhaps I would like to check it every day. Maybe I won't get around to it. But at least once a week I will do a thorough check of going through and reading through your notebook. It is very important that you bring it to class, and it's very important that you do this work the night before. I'm not asking you to do a lot of work. A 15-minute lecture and some pages in a chapter is not your traditional AP class. So there should be a smaller workload as in years past. Now, we have our notebook, we have and the readings from the textbook. In addition to that, there will be some problems that you will have to do on your own. These will be a problem set covering 2 to 3 chapters, and these will be due every 3 to 4 weeks. So you will get them assigned. They will be done through WebAssign, which is an online problem generator, which we will set up in class on one of the first days of class. You'll get an account where you can log in. You'll have time to go back. You have about 3 trials to try each problem to put in an answer. You can come in and ask me questions on those problems, and we can go over them together. But these problems here are more for your practice and for you doing the work on your own. Now, class time will change a little bit. Come into class, you may begin class with a demo. We may begin it with a super problem or something along those lines. Maybe we'll start class, any questions that you may have from the lecture the night before on some of the harder and more difficult topics. Then, and this may range from either alone, single, solo problem solving. Well, I think I've covered all the basics in that. Or you may do some group problem solving together. But these will be done in class. You'll show your work. You'll hand them in to me. And if you finish early, you'll have some time to go and do what you wish. That will be your time. So you have your lecture notebook. The class stuff, I will provide all the stuff you need. The other thing that you will need is a lab notebook. We will be doing a lot of lab activities where you will design the procedure, you will collect the data, and you will analyze the data. We won't do so much in writing up a full function lab report with a hypothesis, procedure, etc., etc., etc. But you will still have to have this lab notebook that will incorporate some certain aspects of this scientific procedure that I would like that will follow along with the APB guidelines. Now, let's see here. Cover class time. This is my first year teaching this course in this manner, and I'm going to need your feedback. What's working for you and what's not working for you. So please keep an open dialogue with me as we go forward. I'm really excited about teaching it this way. I think this will be very beneficial to your learning and very beneficial to my time in class. So please, make sure you come to me with any questions or comments that you have and let me know. My email address, mrwolf@gmail.com. mrwolfteacher@gmail.com. It's right there. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this first video. I look forward to seeing you around school and in class.